The Angels do realize you're allowed to score runs in the first 8 innings, right? Right? I don't even know at this point. We'll talk about another non-existent offensive performance, another shutout defeat for our Halos on today's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, as painful as most of them are, here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and after the fact, wherever you get your Locked On Angels podcast feed. 5-0, the final. This is the Angels' favorite score, apparently. The third time in the last 5 games, the Angels have been shut out. The third time in the last 5 games, they've lost 5-0. And the third time in the last 5 games, it's come against a team well above 500. The now 42-49 Chicago Cubs pick up a series win thanks to the Angels being just an absolutely atrocious baseball team, specifically offensively. That's right, if you saw the thumbnail, I said worst offense in Major League Baseball. It might be. It might be. We'll tell you some of the stats that make me think so. At least in recent games, it has been among the worst in all of baseball. But shout out to everybody in here, sticking with me, sticking with this team somehow. Anaheim Angel, Daniel Barry, Nick King, all in here. As always, great to see you guys back. And as always, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. Today's show is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. On today's show, we will talk about, we'll get to in the future, Rendon coming back, Taylor Ward now out. What can the lineup look like going forward? Doesn't even matter. I'm going to talk about Jose Soriano having a start, but I feel bad for him. The same way I feel bad for a lot of starters, I feel bad for Jose Soriano in this one. But of course, we have to start with another abysmal offensive performance. If you did not watch this one, once again, if you didn't, congratulations to you. Congratulations. You literally did not miss anything. And I'm not exaggerating this time. Like literally, if you watched the second at-bat of the game, you would have seen the entire Angels' offensive output until the 9th inning. I'm not exaggerating. One hit going into the 9th inning. One hit on the second at-bat of the game. Brandon Drury hits a ground ball up the middle. And that is literally the only hit going into the 9th inning. The most exciting thing this game was the rain. Oh, is it going to stay? Is it going to get rain delayed? Oh, let's look at the fans trying to get under the overhang at Wrigley Field. Oh, let's see if it's going to affect the team. That was the most exciting thing because this offense has no life. No life. And I'm just going to jump right into some of the stats on why I think this is the worst offense in baseball. I'm at a loss for words. I'm gonna talk about the 9th inning first, actually, and then I'll tell you some of the stats just because I want to wrap up of this game as soon as possible. The Angels didn't try. Why do I need to spend 20 minutes talking about the game itself? There's not much to talk about. Angels, one hit, Brandon Drury, in that first inning. Other than that, literally nothing. I think they had one walk, one base runner in like the 5th or 6th or something. Yeah, one walk. From Wisniewski. I think that's how you say his name. I don't even know who he is. You probably don't either. Coming into this one, 3-5 with a 3.67 ERA. Or I think that's after this game, actually, that he jumps up to that record and that ERA. So he hasn't been great. He hasn't been terrible. But against the Angels, you're Superman. Always, always, always. Fudd Alex hits it right on the nose. He says, they seem unmotivated even more. That's the main thing. Once again, I'm not expecting this team to have 12 hits like they did yesterday. I'm not expecting them to score in like the first 6 innings or first 5 innings like they did yesterday. But at least just get a hit every 3 innings, every 4 innings. Pete Fox of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast, he really complains when the Dodgers don't score in every other inning. That's what he complains about. I just complain when the Angels don't even get a hit in every other inning, in every 3 innings, in every 4 run. How about one hit? One hit through 8 innings. No creativity, no drag bunt attempts, no. Other than that, I don't really know what you can do if you're on Washington. You can't do hit and runs. You can't do sack bunts. You can't do any of that when you're not on base in general. But just no life. And another game that flew by. If it wasn't for the 9th inning rally, if it wasn't for the Cubs actually having an offensive performance, if it wasn't for some rain and stuff, this game would have been over in 2 hours and 10 minutes again. These games go by so quickly because the Angels, their offensive, they're obviously their hitting performances, when they come up to bat, if I could talk, it lasts 5 minutes. It literally lasts 5 minutes. And you don't need a pitch clock to do it. They don't get the credit for it. All of that goes to the Angels just don't even sniff the bases. They don't even have good at-bats right now. If I had an 8-pitch at-bat that resulted in a strikeout, that would have been the second best at-bat of the first 8 innings because literally there was one hit. The starter, Wesneski, 3-5 now, he had 40 pitches going into the 5th inning. 40. He was under 70 pitches through 6. Like, you're averaging less than 12 pitches per inning, something like that, against the Angels team. And you're not some strikeout menace. You're not going up against prime Garrett Cole or something who's just going to run it by you. 1, 2, 3, strikeout. 1, 2, 3, strikeout. No. This is a guy who just throws strikes, and all you got to do is throw strikes against the Angels because they're not going to hit it. They're not going to have a bloop single. They're not going to have a home run. They're going to roll over. And yesterday was a nice brief intermission from what has been an embarrassing stretch. Absolutely embarrassing. I'll tell you about that stretch right now. In the last 7 days, if you go on MLB.com and you look at the stats in the last 7 days, the Angels have the second worst batting average in all of baseball. Only the Cincinnati Reds worse. Only the Reds. Their OPS, the Angels' OPS, the worst in all of baseball over the last week. And I don't want to hear someone say I'm cherry picking because, you're happening to pick this team when they're on a skid. No, this has been the Angels' offense for a lot of the year. If you get rid of the 9th inning where they explode for 4 runs, this is what the offense always looks like, innings 1 through 8. No life. The worst OPS, and it's not even close. The second worst OPS over the last 7 days in all of baseball, the Seattle Mariners at 5.85. The Angels are all the way down at 4.93 OPS. 4.93. Almost 100 points worse than the next worst. Slugging percentage. Angels, the worst. Toronto Blue Jays, second worst at 320. The Angels, 223 slugging, not batting average. Slugging is the thing that gets boosted when you have doubles and triples and home runs. Mind you, all this team does is hit home runs. 223 slugging over the last week. Awful. Absolutely terrible. Second least amount of hits. You look at the home runs, they're always okay there. Not even in this stretch they haven't been. It's just it's lowest in home runs, and that's the main thing. Once again, is this team relies so heavily on the home run ball, so heavily on the deep fly ball, that when you only have one home run in the last 7 days, no wonder you can't score any runs, because that's always been the only way this team ever gets an RBI, is if there's a 3-run shot from an Adele, from not a Moniak, from a Taylor Ward or something like that. So just no life, nothing, one hit going in the 9th. I'll finally tell you about the 9th inning, like I said I was going to, when, of course, like every game, the Angels decide to do something in the 9th. And it's funny. A few postcasts ago, when the Angels were getting complete games shut out by Joey Estes, I was saying, bring back the games where they do nothing through the first 8 innings, but at least they do something in the 9th, because at least there's something to hold on to. I don't know. I might retract that statement, because this almost annoys me more. You tell me what you think in the comment. What annoys you more? Watching this team just literally do nothing the entire game, or do nothing for the first 8 and then do just enough to make you keep watching in the 9th and then, of course, still fall short. If every once in a while these comebacks actually came through, then of course it would be worth it. But they never actually come through all the way. When it's 7-1 against the A's, they score 4 and they make it 7-5. Today it's 5-0. You load the bases, but you don't actually even score a run. You don't actually bring the tying run up to bat. So it's never actually enough to even consider it a comeback, but it's enough to extend the game by 20 minutes, make it not say 1 hit, next to the Angels, make it say 3 instead, make it seem like you were actually threatening in the game, when in reality, you waited till the 9th inning against their non-closer to load the bases, all to immediately strike out the second they bring their closer in. In my opinion, I think it might annoy me more. If you didn't watch, you wait till the 9th, you wait till 2 outs in the 9th, and the most Angel injury ever. Taylor Ward, infield single, already the most Angel thing ever, because like I said, you wait till there's 2 outs in the 9th to get your second hit of the game. The most Angel thing ever, because Taylor Ward looks at the ground ball, he thinks it's foul, the whole stadium thinks it's foul, he's barely running down the line. Oh wait, it's fair, oh God, I gotta start running. And Taylor Ward can't even run right now without getting hurt. He can't do anything. Taylor Ward can't do anything. He had another play earlier in this game. We'll talk about it later. He doesn't even look like he knows what a cutoff man is in left field. He is just clueless. And now he might be out. All he had to do was run to first base, and he can't even do that. Taylor Ward, he gets hurt after the infield single that shouldn't have been. Then Kevin Pillar, shocker, he gets up against the lefty. He's going to come through, rips a base hit. Then Logan O'Hoppe has a nice walk, and the bases are loaded. But all that did was force the Cubs to bring in their closer, and he, just mows through Zach Neto. Easy strikeout swinging on 1-2, throws a splitter down and away, a perfect pitch, strike 3, you're out. Neto had a rough game. He left all the runners on base. The only other opportunity for the Angels was with Neto up, and he popped out. So he continues to really struggle in this stretch. And once again, when one of your leaders, when one of your emotional leaders, when one of your actual productivity leaders is a young Zach Neto who has to worry about so much, when he slumps, the team follows, and they are following for sure. So, with all that being said, there's already some comments in here. We'll get to those after the break. After the break, we're also going to discuss the Jose Soriano start. I know there's going to be mixed opinions. In my opinion, I thought he was okay. I also feel bad for him because he had another typical Angels start where you get absolutely no help. There's all this pressure to be perfect, and it's hard to be perfect, especially when you're a converted reliever like Soriano is. So we'll talk about that after the break. We'll read some comments, and we'll also talk about the lineup going forward. Rumors that Anthony Rendon is coming back tomorrow. We'll talk about it after our first break here. I did say the sponsor of the show. We'll get to the rest of the ads after this break on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Today's show is brought to you by my favorite people at PrizePicks. If you somehow, at this point, don't know what PrizePicks is, it's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because unlike other apps where you have to compete against other players and, oh, you did well, but they did better. No, this is simple. All you got to do is just you against the numbers. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. For example, if today you had, insert random Angel player under on hits, unless you had Brandon Drury, you hit it. So here's a strategy. My strategy was when Rengifo was in the lineup, always go more on him to have over, 0.5 total bases because he seemed to always get a base hit. The strategy right now, until we see otherwise, pick less on everything Angels offense and pick more on everything opposing starting pitcher because that's what we're seeing every game. That's enough for my Angel rant in the middle of the ad read. But with PrizePicks, there's promotions. On Tuesdays, they have what's called Taco Tuesdays. They lower select player stats projections to help your lineup have a better chance of hitting. And on Fridays, you can get your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And today's show is also brought to you by Tax Network USA. Here on the Locked On Angels Postcast, here throughout the Locked On Podcast Network, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team. Whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs, it's year-round. But you know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. I use Tax Network USA because I'm 22. I have a couple of jobs, a couple different forms of income. I also have a lot of expenses, rent, still going on trips and all that. I need professional help, and I have it with Tax Network USA, and so should you. Because with over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or you finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon, and be sure to mention the Locked On Angels Postcast at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount off their services. We are back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I am Gavin Carlson. If you don't know who I am, I spent 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the Los Angeles area. I've been in press boxes, courtside, in locker rooms, interviewing famous coaches and players, Jaime Jaquez Jr., DTR, all that good stuff. And of course, now I'm a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm the postcast host for the Angels, and the Angels are terrible. They really, really are. Another loss, 6 in the last 7 days, or 7 games. Coming off that 6-game losing streak, they have absolutely crumbled since then. A 5-0 defeat at Wrigley Field, the third 5-0 defeat in the last 5 games. That's ridiculous. 1 hit in the first 8 innings. We already talked about that. We talked about the fake rally in the 9th that they always seem to have, where they never actually come through enough to make it worth watching, but always enough to keep your eyes still on the TV, but they never actually come through. We're going to talk about Jose Soriano right now, and then we'll get to your comments, because there are comments. Shout out to the usuals in here, as well as Fud Alex and Saucy James. Glad to see you back as well. But let's talk about Jose Soriano, because I don't know about you, but this is not a bad start, in my opinion. Jose Soriano, in just his second start back from the IL, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, just 1 walk. That statistically is pretty solid. I know the quality start metric is 6 innings. He only had 5, but in today's day and age, especially when Jose Soriano is still not an established starter, 5 innings of 3-run ball, fine by me. 6 hits, that's fine. Only 1 walk, you like to see it. Didn't give up a home run. 3 strikeouts is fine. I think it is okay, statistically wise, looking at that. And then you got to think about the context and think about what actually happened. Think about, if you didn't see, in the bottom of the 3rd, Soriano getting absolutely no help in the field. He gives up a leadoff single to Dansby Swanson, but then ground ball, deflects off his glove, goes to Zach Neto, kind of to the right of second base. It's an awkward spot for shortstop. And instead of just throwing the ball to first, getting 1 out, at this point it's 0-0. You've got Soriano, who so far had been pitching really well. 1-2-3 in the first, 1-2-3 in the second, before that leadoff single in the 3rd. Just get an out. Just getting out at first. They said it on the Angels broadcast. Neto had a similar situation earlier in the season where Ron Washington told him after the fact, just get the out at first. But here, Neto, weak grounder, somehow tries to get it to second. He tries to run there because Drury's not there. Then he thinks about flicking it. There's no play. Just throw it to first. But he does not. No outs. So what should be 1 out, runner on second, and then Soriano, maybe you walk a guy, you pitch a little more careful because you have an open first base. No, instead it's first and second with nobody out. A lot of pressure. Then he gives up a single to Miguel Amaya on what wasn't a terrible pitch. A sinker didn't get low enough, didn't sink enough. And Amaya rips it down the left field line towards Taylor Ward. And take a second, take a guess what I'm going to say when I say towards Taylor Ward. Probably something bad. Ironically, it actually worked out for the Angels. Taylor Ward's incompetence helped the Angels in this situation, because the runner from second, Dansby Swanson, scores. Miles Mastrobwini, I don't know how to say it, gets to 3rd. And it should be 1st and 3rd with nobody out. But Taylor Ward is so incompetent in left field that Neto is pointing to second base while standing at 3rd. Guillerme is pointing to second base. And Taylor Ward is like, what? Who do I give it into? He just lobs one in at 20 miles an hour to Zach Neto, and Amaya says, okay, this guy in left field has no idea what he's doing. I'm going to go take second. And luckily, Zach Neto gets the ball, fires it over to second, and nice tag by Drury, and they get Amaya out at second. If that didn't happen, once again, it would have been Taylor Ward's fault. Just looks out to lunch in left field. There's no reason I don't care if you're not a good fielder. You are way too experienced in this league, in this game. way too experienced at left field to continuously, once every 3 or 4 games, whether it's you miss a ground ball, you miss a cutoff man, you throw it over somebody's head, you throw it 5 miles an hour with your noodle arm. There's always something with him. And this time, looking so confused as if he's never played left field before, as if he doesn't know where a cutoff man is, as if he doesn't know he should throw the ball to second to hold the runner at second, with 2 guys in the infield pointing at second. They're treating him like a young guy. They're trying to baby him. They're pointing to second. He still doesn't throw it to second. And luckily, Zach Nettles able to fire out Amaya at second, or it would have been a lot worse. So in that sense, Soriano kind of got some help, but it was already after Neto made the mistake, and the guy on third, Miles Master or whatever, shouldn't even be on third. He should be out. So it really should be, with that Amaya play, it should really be 2 outs. It really should be. But instead it's 1 out, runner on third, already 1-0, and then there's the sac fly from Nico Hoerner. It wasn't a bad pitch from Soriano, in my opinion. He threw it pretty well inside, a down and in sinker that Hoerner, I guess, is waiting for and is able to get his hands inside of that pitch somehow and fly it deep enough, 292 feet. Once again, if you have a really good fielder in center field, maybe it's not deep enough, but Mickey Moniak, he ain't throwing nobody out. And so it's 2-0 Cubs, when really it should be 1-0. Maybe, just maybe, it shouldn't even be a run on the board for the Cubs in that inning if the fielding is more competent. So I feel bad for Soriano there. I feel bad because you go 1-2-3 in the first, 1-2-3 in the second, but you just know you're getting absolutely no help. And that's what I feel bad about more than anything, is that, or for him, is that like Tyler Anderson, like a Griffin Canning, like any of the starters, you 99 times out of 100, you go out onto the mound feeling like you're going to get no run support, and then a few innings into the game, you're able to look around and see, if you have even one working eye, you're able to see this lineup for the Angels ain't doing nothing today. You saw it right away in the first 2 innings. This lineup is going down like that. Their lineup, their times up to bat at the top of the innings are lasting 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. The starter for the Cubs is under 40 pitches, under 50 pitches, under 60 pitches. You think Jose Soriano doesn't realize that? Even if he's not watching the game while his teammates are hitting, he has a mental clock, and he's able to sit there on the bench and go, wait, I'm already standing up again? I already have to go pitch again? I just sat down. In the bottom of the third, all that happens, Jose Soriano sits down. He probably is frustrated. He gave up 2 runs. He's probably trying to get his emotions under check, probably trying to figure out what went wrong. Oh, 1-2-3, Drury ground out, Ward strikeout, Calhoun ground out. Drury grounds out on the second pitch of the at-bat. Willie Calhoun grounds out on the second pitch of the at-bat. Taylor Ward caught out on strikes in 5 pitches. So 9 pitches go by. 9 pitches! And Soriano already has to get up off the bench and go pitch again. You're never going to succeed if you have to do that. Unless you're in a groove. If you're in a groove, cool. I'll get right back up. I'll pitch again. But he just gave up 2 runs. The last thing he wants to do is sit down for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, watch 9 pitches go by, and immediately have to stand up and go pitch again. But that's what Soriano has to do. So it's a miracle that he doesn't really give up any runs after that. Just the double play RBI in the bottom of the 5th. He gives up a leadoff double and then a single. It's second and third with nobody out. And he's able to get a double play, or first and third, with nobody out. He's able to force a double play. A run scores. It's 3-0. That's still an okay start. Strickland does well in the bottom of the 6th, only gives up a walk. But then in the bottom of the 7th, Matt Moore comes in and gives up an absolute moonshot. In the rain, at this point, the only thing I was watching was the rain, and he gives up an absolute moonshot. 102.4 exit velo, deep into right field, and it's 5-0. Matt Moore has certainly been really bad this year. Certainly should have been a trade candidate if he was decent, but he is not decent. Has not been decent at all, and that trade value continues to go down after giving up another home run. The ERA just under 5 at 4.98. Not good enough at all. But with all that being said, we're going to take our last break here on the postcast. I feel bad for Soriano. I don't really feel bad for anybody else. When we come back, we'll talk about Anthony Rendon coming back maybe tomorrow and why I am actually looking forward to it. Anthony Rendon stinks. Physically, mentally, emotionally, he stinks. But I'm looking forward to him coming back tomorrow, potentially. I'll explain why the heck I have such a crazy thought after my last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is also brought to you by the great people at FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, even if it's these sorry Los Angeles Angels. I love sports so much, I never want them to stop. But with the playoffs winding down and over now in the NBA, in the NHL, and even the Euros is down to the Final Four, the Copa America is down to the quarterfinals, we're getting fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. A boost or a bonus daily. If you don't know what that means, boosting means if something was going to pay out $10, maybe it'll pay out $15 just because they're boosting. Or there's a bonus where you deposit $20, they'll give you a free 20 or something like that. Those aren't the official terms, but those are just some examples. So I highly recommend you head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer, because FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We are back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast, and the Angels are terrible. The third 5-0 loss in 5 days. Just think about that for a second. On Wednesday, July 3rd, 5-0 loss to the A's. On Thursday, July 4th, 5-0 loss to the A's. And then just 3 days, 3 games later, 5-0 loss to the Cubs. And what came in between that? A 5-1 loss to the Cubs, and of course the big game yesterday. But does that game really matter when you've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your last 7? No. That one game that isn't a loss doesn't really matter when you've been as bad as the Angels have been. We already talked about the Angels being, in my opinion, the worst offense in all of baseball, especially in the last 7 days. That's statistically wise, not even getting to the fact that they don't do anything until the game is over. So really, their stats are even misleading. They may even be overestimating the Angels' production. It might be even worse than the already abysmal stats show. But we talked about that. We talked about Soriano. I'm going to talk about Anthony Rendon potentially coming back tomorrow and what I think needs to happen in the lineup. But first, let's get to the comments. Anaheim Angel says, I'm at Disney today. Oh, well, congratulations. He says, so I will watch later. But geez, 4 shutouts in the last 5. I think it's 3 shutouts in the last 5. They did score 1 run. But still, shout out to Anaheim Angel, fitting with the Anaheim in his title. Go enjoy the good part of Anaheim. Go enjoy Disney today. Don't enjoy the Angels. Smart. Daniel Barry says, yo, shout out to him as always. Nick King says, surely a guy making almost $40 million this year will help us win more games now that he's back off the IL. Right? Of course, Nick King is talking about Anthony Rendon. We'll get to him in a second. We will. But Alex says, they seem unmotivated even more. Jeff, always here. He says, I called it yesterday. He did. He literally said, I forgot that. Jeff said, we're going to get shut out by the Cubs. He watched our team, our Angels, explode for 12 hits yesterday. He saw them explode for 7 runs. He saw every single hitter in the lineup get a hit. And he came in here after the postcast, and he wasn't fired up. He said, we're getting shut out tomorrow. And Jeff is spot on. I literally, in the postcast, said, come on, Jeff, don't be so negative. Let us enjoy this 7-run explosion yesterday, and then we'll talk about tomorrow and maybe having hope about stealing a series win against the Cubs. But Jeff, I'm never doubting you again. You were spot on. You called the shutout, and you got it. Saucy James says, I'm convinced this team is just phoning it in the rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, when you see a guy like Joe Adell hitting 180 and he gets to hit every single day, it's hard for the rest of the guys on the team to not think you're phoning it in. Clearly, you're not trying to win if you've got him in the lineup every day doing nothing, and a bunch of other guys as well. Fort Alex says they should try to bring up young players from the Bees or Trash Pandas and see if some work, and get rid of Adele, Calhoun, Moniak, Sano, Guillerme, and some pitchers. Yeah, we're sellers. We are absolutely sellers. And it's getting to the point where you might have to accept the fact that a lot of veterans' trade value is just not going to be as high as you want it to be, but you still might need to, sell them. Because at this point, just what's the point? Jeff said you're correct. KCJ24, back again, a new postcaster. Appreciate you. He says, Taylor Ward is not a good outfielder. That, amen. Amen. It needs to be written. I need to get that tattooed somewhere. Taylor Ward is not a good outfielder. He's terrible. Saucy James says, Hell, just play the 66ers at this point. Yeah, for real. Jeff says, sorry, that how they are seemed to many times. I can't understand that one fully, but I think you're just saying this team stinks, and I agree. And Anthony Jimenez says, is it September yet? On God, for real. It's getting hard to watch. It's getting hard to watch. Real quick, some news that came before the game was looking at the injury status of a couple players. Luis Rengifo, they're saying he's expected to return in mid-July. Potentially, he's got right wrist inflammation. We saw him get hurt against the A's on that swing, hurt his right wrist. He had been amazing, like they said. Was hitting .315 with 22 stolen bases in 69 games and was certainly an all-star candidate. But now they're hoping it'll be a short stay on the IL. He's going to visit a hand specialist when the team returns home tonight, and we'll see. Hopefully it's nothing serious for him. Does anyone's opinion change on Rengifo? Maybe you need to trade him. I know we were saying, oh, you got to keep him. The Angels are winning right now, and he's at the forefront, the center of it all. But they're back to losing. Maybe it's not a coincidence that it comes with him not in the lineup. But maybe, just maybe, we were all getting a little too excited during that winning streak. And if you can cash in for Rengifo, you do it. Maybe. I don't know. Mike Trout, still the same update. Mid-season, probably. Adam Simber, yada, yada, yada. But the big one is Anthony Rendon. He's been on the 60-day IL, but there's a potential that he will be back tomorrow, July 8th. On MLB.com, it says he sustained a left hamstring strain while beating out an infield single on April 20th and was placed on the injured list on April 21st. And they basically said he took live batting practice on July 5th and 6th at Angel Stadium. And Ron Washington said Rendon could return as soon as July 8th against the Rangers. The plan is to start him at third and then have him serve as a designated hitter the next day. Washington said that will be the plan going forward until Rendon is ready for everyday action. It's interesting because I was frustrated we didn't see Keston Hiura today. He got a hit 2 days ago when nobody else did on the team, and literally was one of the 2 hits. And then yesterday, he went 2 for 5. So why the heck is he not in the lineup? Why the heck is he not in the lineup, but Joe Adell gets to hit every day? At this point, Keston Hiura is 27. I forget how old Joe Adell is. He's not that much younger. They're both not projecting to be superstars going forward. They both have similar upside at this point. Keston Hiura should be hitting. Why not? We know the question was, when Rendon comes back at third base, what will happen to Rengifo? They were talking about moving him to the outfield, which would have been nice. Like I said, you put Rendon at third, you get Rendon in the outfield, you get rid of Joe Adell and Mickey Moniak, especially once Trout comes back. That's a pretty good outfield of Ward, Trout, Rengifo. The infield would be Rendon, Neto, Drury, Shanuel, Ohapi. But, at this point, who knows? Neto's been terrible. Maybe he needs a day off. The problem is we have nobody at shortstop, and he's still a great guy in the field, although he wasn't great today. And honestly, let's be honest, Zach Neto's not been great in the field throughout this whole horrible stretch. So maybe it's time for Neto to have a break. We saw him slam his helmet and bat on the ground after that pop-up earlier in this one. Zach Neto is so frustrated. You can see it. He's not hiding it. Maybe he needs a day off. Maybe with Rendon coming back, somehow you work around the infield and maybe Neto gets that day off. I don't know. But Rendon is back, and I'm actually excited just because you need change. You need change any way you can get it with this team. Obviously, we hate him. He stinks. He makes $40 million. He should make 5 pennies. But at the very least, this forces Ron Washington to switch around the lineup once again, be creative. I'd like to see Keston Hiura in the lineup until he doesn't get a hit or something. I'd like to maybe see Neto get a day off. I've already said a million times what I think needs to happen with Joe Adell and Moniak, and how there should never be a game when both are playing at the same time. That's just my opinion. We might be seeing that now, though, with Taylor Ward maybe out. So many opportunities for changes in the lineup. Rendon back, Ward maybe out, Rengifo still out, Keston Hiura being called up might need deserved time. So many things can happen with the lineup, and so that's the only reason I'm excited Rendon is back. It will force Ron Washington to get creative and make some more changes, because boy, are they needed. So with all that being said, I'm going to sign off here today on what ends up being a pretty disappointing holiday weekend for the Angels, a pretty disappointing road trip. You win one game against the Cubs yesterday, and other than that, you got swept by the A's. So just really, really bad. Really, really bad. 3 shutouts in the last 5 days. But with all that being said, I am going to sign off. Shout out to each and every one of you in here. I appreciate you all so much. Please, if you're in here, if you're watching after the fact, regardless, make sure you're subscribed. leave a like on the video. It really, really helps. I promise. It really helps when you leave a like. It lets me know I did a good job, but it also lets YouTube know that I did a good job and that you guys like the video, and it shares that video out with more people. So if you leave a like, it'll increase the community, improve the community here, and that's all we want. So leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking about this team and what the heck should happen. But with all that being said, I'm signing off. Gavin Carlson here. Angels 0, Cubs 5. Let's take a break from this team. We're almost at the All-Star break, and then we can really take a break from this team. But I will be back, as always, after tomorrow night's game, the Rangers coming to town as the Angels return to the Big A. Hopefully, tomorrow night's postcast will be after a win. But I'm Gavin Carlson. The Angels stink. I'm sad. I'll be back here tomorrow, and hopefully you'll be too. So long, everybody.